All right, so welcome to another rapid fire business story of the week. This is part of our rapid fire series, and today we have an incredible guest with us, someone who's achieved extraordinary success and is here to share their unique business journey with you. We're excited to hear their insights, so let's welcome them to the show. All right, so as this is our rapid fire series, we've got 1 minute or less to answer each question. So, in a minute or less, give us the elevator pitch to your story and your life. Go.
Started professional selling about 35 years ago in technology, and I've seen sales and technology evolve, certainly with AI. And I was in technology early, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I saw the explosion and evolution and revolution of online email and that internet pipe getting wider, fatter, and faster. But the changes that are occurring now to organizations, sales leaders, and sales professionals is unbelievable, especially with the advent and explosion of AI. I use the analogy of when I grew up, I loved the Flintstones, cartoons, and the Jetsons. You can no longer rely on old, stable sales training, technique, leadership. You really have to embrace technology and use that as a competitive advantage. And I tell my clients, whatever business you're in. But the second business you're in is information technology. And how can you use that, leverage that as a strategic and competitive advantage in terms of building your tech stack and all the tools that are available to grow, scale, and add systems and processes to your sales organization, which will help you attract and retain a talent.
So that's fascinating, and I would love to dig a little bit deeper. So tell us a bit more about what you're working on today that you're most passionate about and believe will have the biggest impact.
As I mentioned, we are embracing all things technology coming out of tech, but specifically as it relates to a great website, a great tech stack. Do you have a great CRM, customer relationship management program? But really, what is the strategic game plan or strategy as you move forward? Buyers, B2B buyers are very sophisticated today, and a recent Gartner study indicated that a growing percentage, north of 28% of all B2B business buyers for any product or service would prefer to not deal with a sales rep. And I think you're going to see those numbers expand. So as you build out your tech stack, do you really have a feasible architecture, digital marketing, and sales strategy to attract and retain A clients and A sales players?
So this next question is one that every entrepreneur has dealt with. Tell us about a time where you failed. We often say failure is the first step to success. So think about a time where you failed in the past. What happened? What did you learn from it?
I failed many times as a corporate sales executive in information technology. I knew I wanted to grow, build, and scale a speaking, training, and consulting practice related to sales excellence. I was at IBM working full-time my day job and then working full-time my night job. And I would submit and invite your listeners to consider, are you a rec team or are you a professional team? Is this a hobby or is this a business? And it is a business. So really have a business plan, make sure that you have adequate funding, and recognize that it's probably going to take 2 to 3 years minimum to grow, scale, and work those 14 to 18 hours a day until you have the business that you are looking to have in the future.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. And we're definitely going to have you back on the show to dive deeper into each of these questions. But for now, one thing that I often say is, and I tell this to my employees and the people who work with me and for me all the time, is that when a tree falls in the forest, if nobody hears it, did that tree actually fall? This brings me to this next question. How do you make sure that all of these amazing projects that you're involved in get noticed? What marketing and advertising methods have worked best for you? You've got a minute. Let's go.
Well, everybody says like, subscribe, number of connections on different social media channels. That's important. But really, what value are you bringing to the content you're sharing? It's not about me. It's really about offering great content that addresses current sales technology, sales leadership, sales team, recruitment issues, and the content, the books and white papers that I offer for free on my website, salescoach.us and dougdvorak.com. Content is king, and the quality of your content has to be timely and address real world issues that solve problems. So when they consume that data, they want to have a logical next step with you and have a discovery call via Zoom, Teams, or a phone conversation.
That was so awesome. We're definitely going to dive deeper into this on a later show. And as we approach our last question, before we ask people how people can get a hold of you, how people can reach you, learn more about the work that you're doing in your company, and we will include all that information in the show notes. What I wanted to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would offer to your younger self, to our audience, and to somebody, especially somebody who's just starting out in the same niche that you're in, but just doesn't know how to start or get going?
My business took on new urgency and a new realism when I quit my day job, and I had to make it work. So I would suggest that you read some books on a business plan, construct a business plan, use some of those free resources in your community, the Small Business Development Center in any primary, secondary, tertiary market that offers free workshops on how to write a business plan, how to grow and scale a business, use interns, use community colleges, and go out and network. But make sure that you're not a rec team, you're a professional team. Is this a hobby? Nothing wrong with working full-time, following your passion, and having a side hustle. That's a part-time or a part-time business. But really be thoughtful, be methodical. But when you have all those levers of planning, funding in place, cut the cord. You have to make it happen.
Amazing stuff. We're going to have to thank our guest today for being a guest on Business Story of the Week. And before we cut out on this episode, I wanted to ask you, how can people get a hold of you? How can people learn more about what you're doing? And how do people engage with you? And we will transcribe this and put it in the show notes for everybody to find.
Hi, you can reach me at doug@dougdvorak.com, DOUG at DOUGDVORAK.com, or 847-359-6969, and our website is salescoach.us. Thank you very much.
All right, amazing. So you did it. Thank you for being a guest on the show today. Let me tell you what you can expect next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this, we're going to cut it into an episode. It will go on the Business Story of the Week page. So make sure you go on Apple Podcasts, review us, like us, go on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us on Spotify. And this will come out in the next 30 days or so, depending on our workload and how many shows we have. We have had a lot of interest in the show lately, so we may be a little backed up, but the show will get out. In the meanwhile, we will send you clips that feel free to share on social. Also, the full episode, feel free to share any way that you like. The content is yours to share and put out there. We just ask that you mark us and tag us in the notes if you do. So in the copy, put hashtag Business Story of the Week. Link back to us. We would appreciate that. And if you think that you might be interested in doing more podcasts, live ones and studio ones, Zoom ones, Riverside ones, there's a whole host of shows that likely if you did this one and succeeded, you would probably be really great at, and a great way of getting your message out. So your host will talk to you about potentially getting you booked on a strategy call for a Business Story of the Week's sister company, Podcast Cola, or becoming a YouTube influencer through Viral Mirage. Thanks again for being a part of this. Looking forward to working with you.